And we are predicting that Tony Blair has won a third term, but with a sharply reduced majority of 66. If our prediction is correct, it would mean Labour would have 356 seats in the House of Commons. That's 47 fewer than in 2001. And the Liberal Democrats are on course for 53 seats. That's 2 more. And Manchester-Withington, another gain for the Liberal Democrats. Majority here, 667, 15,872 against 15,205. The swing from Labour to Liberal Democrats, 17.3%. I think that's the record that we've had so far this evening. Cardiff Central is another Liberal Democrat gain. And here are some of they've held on in Cheltenham against the Conservatives. They've held on to Brecon and Radnorshire against the Conservatives as well. They've held on to Carshalton and Wallington, held on to Sutton and Cheam. Those are all against Conservative challenges.
Over here, Labour will have won 358 seats. The Conservative Party over here would have won just 195, less than Michael Foot. All those years ago, we've talked about that, their worst moment. Liberal Democrats, we had our doubts about them, didn't we, at the beginning of the evening, but we reckon they're going to complete this process now on 61, a significant improvement for the Liberal Democrats.
The era of three-party politics right across the United Kingdom is now with us. That is something that I welcome. I think it is a healthy development, and I think that what we are seeing taking place in terms of the progress of the Liberal Democrats right across the land, in Scotland, in Wales, and right throughout England, is something to celebrate.
Over the past 18 months, I've been coming to terms with and seeking to cope with a drink problem. And I've come to learn through that process that any drink problem is a serious problem indeed. It's serious for yourself, and it's serious for those round about you. I've sought professional help, and I believe today that this issue is essentially resolved. People close to me know that this has been a struggle, and that for extended periods I've consumed no alcohol at all. As a matter of fact, I haven't had a drink for the past 2 months, and I don't intend to in the future.
The energy, the ideas and the determination to lead this party into the next general election.
General Dannatt has said that our presence in Iraq exacerbates the security situation. Later today, in the debate on Iraq, we will be setting out our proposals to bring the troops home by October. Should not the Prime Minister be setting out his proposals in that debate as well?
News. This is BBC London.
It's 10 o'clock. I'm Jenny Barsby. Mingus Campbell has tonight resigned as the leader of the Liberal Democrats. In a statement, party president Simon Hughes said the 66-year-old has stood down in the interests of the party.
Thanks everybody for coming. I hope you're seated comfortably because this is quite a lengthy speech. We must reach out to the British people, to those who don't currently vote for the Liberal Democrats and to the millions who don't vote at all. Some argue that the best the Liberal Democrats can hope for is third place at a toehold in government if we're lucky. That surely cannot be our aim. Third place is not good enough. Not good enough for me, for the party, or for Britain. The demands facing us require ambition, verve, and self-confidence. That is what I promise to bring to the leadership of the Liberal Democrats. Thank you. I'm going to talk today about the future. But let me start by asking you to think back to the past. 1 year ago, it was a different world. You remember, the Labour government was sort of popular. Gordon Brown had dealt with the crisis competently. What Britain needs now is absolute honesty. about the situation we're in and big, bold ideas to set us right. Quite simply, we need a government that listens.
Manchester, in the heart of the northwest of England, is tonight host to a British political first. I'm Alastair Stewart, and for the first time on British television, live in front of a representative studio audience, we'll be hearing from three men, each hoping to be the leader of the next UK government in the first election debate.
I am so proud of the values that have made our country so great. Democracy, human rights, the rule of law. But the sad truth is that in recent years, our governments under the old parties have let those values down. We shouldn't have sent soldiers into battle without the right equipment. We shouldn't be facing allegations of complicity in torture. We shouldn't have invaded Iraq. So I want us to lead in the world. I want us to lead in Europe, not complain from the sidelines. I want us to lead in creating a world free of nuclear weapons. And I think if we do things differently, we can be proud once again of the role we can play as a force for good in the world.
The most impressive thing about Nick Clegg is that he comes across as a real person.
Disillusioned with Labour. I'd always thought I'd traditionally vote Labour, but I agree more with the sort of the taxation policies and a lot of what they stand for.
Clegg mania has stunned the other two main parties and turned the election into a three-horse race. And that has meant the very real possibility of a hung parliament.
We've talked also about the economy this evening, and I've heard a number of people ask questions about the deficit, ask questions about how the economy is going to fare as businesses in the future, whether in or out of Europe. And the issue for me is, don't do anything that puts this economic recovery at risk.
You've heard in the debate today some big differences set out between us about how we believe you've got to give more priority to keeping our country safe, keeping our borders secure, making sure we keep our defences strong.
I think if we do things differently, if we stand up for the values that have made our country great, then we can be proud again, proud of greater fairness here at home, and proud also of standing up for the things we believe in the world. We don't simply need to choose from the old choices of the past. We don't need to repeat the mistakes of the past. Don't let anyone tell you that this time it can't be different. It can.
Good evening, and what an extraordinary campaign it's been. It began as a two-horse race. It ended with three starters at the line. 10 o'clock, and this is what we're saying. It's going to be a hung parliament with the Conservatives as the largest party. And the figures, the Conservatives on 307, short by 19 of the 326 they'd need for an overall majority. Labour on 255, the Liberal Democrats on 59.
Thank you for coming in such small numbers to Cowley Street this morning. Last night was a disappointment for the Liberal Democrats. Even though more people voted for us than ever before, even though we had a higher proportion of the vote than ever before. As I've said before, it seems to me in a situation like this, it's vital that all political parties, all political leaders act in the national interest and not out of narrow party political advantage. I've also said that whichever party gets the most votes and the most seats, if not an absolute majority, has the first right to seek to govern either on its own or by reaching out to other parties. So whatever happens in the coming hours and days and weeks, I'll continue to argue not only for the greater fairness in British society, not only the greater responsibility in economic policy making, but also for the extensive, real reforms that we need to fix our broken political system. Thank you very, very much.
I want to make a big, open and comprehensive offer to the Liberal Democrats. I believe that we in the Conservative Party can give ground, both in the national interest and in the interest of forging an open and trusting partnership.
Top stories at 6. We'll meet again. Power sharing talks between the Tories and Lib Dems have ended for the day, but the two sides say negotiations will continue. Nick Clegg has been talking, holding a phone conversation with David Cameron this afternoon as the Tory leader heads to his parliamentary office for an open session with MPs. But Gordon Brown is battling on, meeting his inner circle at Downing Street.
Well, we're just going into another meeting.
Are you leaning now more towards Labour, do you think?
We'll try and make everything as clear as possible, as soon as possible. Watch the step.
I've informed the Queen's private secretary that it's my intention to tender my resignation to the Queen. In the event that the Queen accepts, I shall advise her to invite the Leader of the Opposition to seek to form a government. Above all, I want to thank Sarah for her unwavering support as well as her love, and for her own service to our country. I thank my sons John and Fraser for the love and joy they bring to our lives. And as I leave the second most important job I could ever hold, I cherish even more the first, as a husband and father. Thank you, and goodbye.
I aim to form a proper and full coalition between the Conservatives and the Liberal Democrats. This is going to be hard and difficult work. A coalition will throw up all sorts of challenges, but I believe together we can provide that strong and stable government that our country needs. Thank you very much. I said that Nick and I wanted to put aside party differences and work together in the national interest. Since I set out that aim, both our parties have given their full backing to our coalition agreement, a Liberal Democrat Conservative government that we have negotiated. And as far as we're resolving these issues, I'd say it's going very well.
Yeah, you can ask lots of what happens next. I mean, there's going to be a lot of change. I mean, I've been advocating new politics for a long time. This is what new politics looks like, and it means that in other parts of our politics, things will look differently as well. And I think we're just proceeding with a very open mind about how to do that.
Thank you. Andy Bell, 5 News. First of all, congratulations to you both, Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister. Secondly, Prime Minister, do you now regret when once asked what your favourite joke was, you replied Nick Clegg? And Deputy Prime Minister, what do you think of that?
We're all going to have. I'm afraid I did once. We're all. Come back. We're all going to have things that we said thrown back at us, and you know, there's a serious point in this, which is if you want to spend the next 5 years finding Lib Dem politicians who slightly disagree with Conservative politicians about this or a slightly nuanced policy, you can find lots. But we're looking at the bigger picture. We're looking at what a bold move like this with a strong, stable government can achieve. And if it means swallowing some humble pie, and if it means eating some of your words, I cannot think of a more excellent diet in which to provide the country with good government.